Yes, good evening and welcome back to Funtastic Friday here on News Talk 93 FM. People, the moment you've been waiting for, it's our Talk the Ting discussion segment. Yes, during this segment we talk to you about some important issues that are affecting us, whether in our social lives or current affairs. But this definitely, in the field of technology, but it's definitely something current happening right now. And we want to talk to you about our topic for today, the rise of AI and deepfakes. With us in studio right now, we have our special guest, Mr. Joel Dean. What's up?
Good to be here. I'm having a good day.
Now, Joel Dean, give us an idea of your background, in IT and AI, and tell us about your name and your company.
All right, so I'm Joel. I have been writing code for the past 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
I am, I guess, one of the longest remote workers in Jamaica. I've been working remotely for multiple US companies over the past 10 years.
Uh-huh.
I have worked on platforms, so I was one of the core team members at WordPress, where I worked on that platform serving 150 million websites.
Wow.
I also helped to scale the Tumblr mobile app to over 100 million downloads on the Play Store and over 400 million microblogs. So I specialize in scaling apps to millions of users.
So, Joel, when do you sleep?
No, man, it's just years and years, of effort, over a decade focus on the field.
Uh-huh.
Now I am an AI founder, so I have an app called Joyful AI Journal, and it's a mental wellness platform that you can talk to in real time, and it helps you to do gratitude exercises, intention settings, and process negative thoughts.
Wow, I mean that comes in timely with recent news I've been hearing. So this type of app is something that pretty much encourages someone
Yes,
to
exactly.
do activities to keep their mind active on the positive side.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, you basically can get rid of negative thoughts and negative feelings.
I mean, what was the drive to create such an app? What was the inspiration behind that?
So the inspiration behind that was 13 years ago, I had a mental health breakdown myself.
Mm-hmm.
And after going to a psychologist, my psychologist would give me exercises to do to kind of because I was thinking negatively,
mm-hmm.
and it was confusing because in my head I was like, but I have a good life. I'm a great software engineer.
Right.
I have great prospects, but traumatic experiences from the past, it's like my brain was rewired and I was being negative, etc. But these exercises were on paper.
Yeah.
So doing them in the rush, it's not really that easy.
Yeah.
So because I make apps, I was like, okay, I should make an app that allows me to journal easier.
Right.
And it's easy to journal with AI because you can talk to the AI system and it helps you to write the journals and analyzes the emotions.
And it pretty much can probably just capture what you say, probably turn it into text and all of that stuff.
Exactly,
So you
you're
can
spot
go back
on.
easily.
That's exactly what it does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I mean, AI has come in as a great tool. We know it's going to be, a two-sided event. Now, in the recent years, AI has moved from being something that we only saw in the movies to a part of almost everybody's daily life. It's on our phones and our devices, from our smart assistants, to banking apps that help us to stay secure. Now, with AI shaping the way how we live or we work, it's important to keep an eye on, what is happening as it relates to the benefits and also some of the risks out there.
Yeah.
Now, some of the amazing benefits of AI, I know we have healthcare breakthrough, right? We look at how AI can probably analyze x-rays, scans, helping doctors to probably spot things that they wouldn't spot with the naked eye.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
We look at education and learning, where online learning platforms, even platforms and apps such as the one that you suggested, help persons to, I guess, open up their mind to other ideas and get the creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
Right. Now, any other way you think you would say, AI has helped or advanced a positive thing in
I feel like one of the most positive things that AI acts as is a multiplier.
Yeah.
So whatever core thing you do as your core domain, if you leverage AI the right way, you can 2x, 3x, even 10x your output.
Right.
So for example, I write code daily, but I don't write code by hand anymore.
Okay.
I literally just use my voice. I talk to my AI agent. and the agent writes the code on my behalf. Say, for example, you're planning sessions.
Yes.
You wouldn't have to be manually writing down the notes anymore. You could talk to AI about the sessions and get detailed notes and explorations. So that allows you to do so much more. So I think one of the greatest benefits is how it multiplies the efforts you put in.
So it pretty much increases your efficiency in a sense. You're able to be more efficient.
Yes, if you allow it to. Because the danger of it is you can turn off your critical thinking and not think anymore and just throw the work at it.
Let AI do everything.
And just let AI do everything.
And
then you lose your voice and you lose your skills.
Okay.
And that's kind of like what a lot of the industry is depending on you to do.
Yeah.
Because that's when they have more control. Because you have given over your critical thinking skills to the machine. So you have to utilize more AI.
So a simple question, you just jump to AI.
Exactly.
No little thinking time.
Yeah, no thinking, or you just lose your voice. You need to write something, and instead of trying to type it yourself, you ask AI to write it instead of even voice prompting. You know, voice prompting, you kind of retain your voice a bit more because you're at least instructing the AI and like sharing all of your thoughts first.
Yeah.
Before just giving over all the creative direction to the machine.
Wow. So you see, people, so with that said, even though we started off with some positive lights, you still have to keep an eye on what's happening. You still have to keep a balance to ensure that the human input is still there.
Yeah.
Not just solely AI. All right. So when we look at other areas now, we look at agriculture and food. It comes in, AI can help us to be more, safe. AI can help to predict weather changes, detect, diseases in some plants, and even recommend the best time to plant, harvest, and crops.
Yes.
So, I mean, we can definitely see that this is a positive.
Yeah, exactly. This week I organized a conference called the Carla Conference, and folks from the Latin America and across Europe came to Jamaica, a bunch of scientists and experts.
Yeah.
They were at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, and they demoed a bunch of climate-related models.
Yeah.
These are AI models that can analyze our weather and predict when we're going to have certain weather situations, so we can plan for floods.
Yeah.
Recently, we saw
we
flooding
saw
where a car was floating
Yeah.
in the streets. Like, we can actually predict those things with AI.
Okay. And is it something that possibly we can move towards in Jamaica, or is it something further down the line? What do you think?
I think we can move towards it once we allocate the resources and we begin those key experimentations to figure out how that fits within our cultural model from an applicability standpoint.
All right. And in terms of transportation and safety, we know that AI has been implemented. I mean, we are used to Google Maps, but it's on a whole nother level now, especially with apps like Waze, suggesting faster routes, also updating us about, traffic changes or any accidents. Even now I see where it's supporting even self-driving vehicles. Now, what's your take on those benefits?
I feel like self-driving vehicles are going to take over driving in probably another 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
I feel like the benefits is mainly safety, because once we can get to a point where we are sure that these systems drive better than us, then why would we want to risk our lives, I mean, but again, a lot of people really enjoy that control. A lot of it is not only about the capabilities, but it's just this feeling and this sense of control and ownership over a human experience like driving. A lot of people really enjoy driving. So I feel like there will be things that, and this is where we're going to have an interesting debate in society. There will be things that AI does really well, but we won't replace it. I prefer when Drake makes a song than AI Drake.
Well,
like when I hear an AI Drake song, I'm like, oh, it sounds good, but once I know that it's AI, it loses the meaning of it.
And then, I mean, sometimes listening to it, you can't tell. You just know, like, there's a way to figure it out. But, I mean, we're going to look into ways of identifying, when it's an AI or deep fake. That's going to be in our second segment coming up. But, I mean, we continue to look on the benefits. As you mentioned, just like traveling, our everyday convenience, from facial recognition that probably unlocks our phones, our houses, chat box that answers every question for customers, and so on, streaming platforms. AI is making life easier.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Now, what would you say is that benefit of allowing us to increase our everyday convenience? Is that what's the good in that?
I feel like the good in that is I love this word, agency.
Agent, yeah.
Where you are able to do more than you used to be able to do in a positive way. So, for example, I left my high paying remote job to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
AI allowed that because I'm able to work like a 10-person team.
Yeah.
So I'm able to really manage different kinds of workloads because AI has enabled that. So I think that that's one of the biggest strengths. And then you can get supplementary skills. You have to be careful with these skills, but you can access these skills. So, for example, I need to generate a contract. I let AI write my contracts for me because it's really great at writing, a base level legal contract that I would have to outsource to a lawyer. And then, people will come and say, but that's taking away work from the lawyer. But I would say not so much because a lot of times even lawyers are caught up with more important work. So I feel like that's kind of like what it does. It's like a multiplier where you can be a jack of your primary trade and still be a master of some, in a sense.
As you say, you kind of give your mind the freedom to focus on the harder, more critical task and what we'd call probably remedial activities.
Exactly.
We let AI handle the small stuff.
And that's how we have always moved. Look at history, like the Industrial Revolution, how we have
things become more
every single
efficient,
10 to 20 years we find that efficiency breakthrough. So I don't want people to be alarmed. This has to happen.
It's a part of progress.
Look at Hollywood. Hollywood has been showing us this in the movies. Like the only next thing is for us to do is to become superheroes, because that's what
No, I remember telling a friend the other day that we were watching a trailer for probably the new Superman or something like that recently, and I was telling a friend, if you ever watch a Batman or a Superman movie from the 1980s, because they had them back then, you'd be laughing because it's not this clear, crisp technology and advanced movement. It was pretty much men just jumping and you can see them holding onto a string or whatever it is. So progress has, brought us some way. I see comments here saying doctors are now using AI in aid of accuracy as well for mammograms, innovation, and also safe and risk reduction. AI is also used to identify criminals in a timely manner. Fiona says help in personalization in everyday life. So that's even pastors nowadays are using AI to write their sermons. Wow. I mean, as I say, at some point it gets a bit tricky. But I mean, at the end of the day, I would say you would still have to review it to make sure that, because AI makes mistakes.
Exactly. Yes, it does make mistakes.
And it might not be precise to what you actually want sometimes.
And that's the thing that we have to look at. Like, if humans make mistakes, why wouldn't AI make mistakes when the entire training set that we have given to AI is human
from
data?
Humans, right.
It's all of Wikipedia, YouTube, all of the internet,
and we know sometimes
turn into billions of parameters to train these large models.
And we know sometimes people go ahead and edit those Wikipedia entries, so
exactly
it might not be factual sometimes.
So that is where there's this core theorem I love to think about, and it's called the cost of errors. Every single domain has a cost of errors. So one of the domains with the highest cost of errors, where there's a real cost of errors, is medicine. Because if AI gives the wrong diagnosis and someone dies, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
A second domain is law. If AI convicts the wrong person, that's a problem.
A big problem.
But if we're in this radio interview and AI generates something wrong, we can correct it. Someone could come in the comments and say, "Oh, Joel, Lionel, that you said the wrong thing there." So the cost of errors for certain fields are lower. So that's one of the other tricky things about AI and its error rate. There's a lot of research trying to fix the hallucination problem now, because that's what they call it as the key term. But it's an uphill battle.
And then with those cases where that field has that high, you said that the error,
cost of error,
you'd want more human input to probably oversee.
Exactly. So you're spot on. They call that human in the loop. So where the AI does some work, and then as it's about to execute, it comes back to you and asks you to verify, so you can click yes.
Yeah.
So you can take responsibility for the action it's about to perform.
All right, people, as I tell you, it's a very interesting discussion because it's happening right now. We no longer have to imagine it. I mean, back in my youthful days, I would have imagined seeing more flying cars before seeing people transform digitally in front of my eyes. Somebody just click a filter and they're now a sheep or a goat, or probably another person. What do we do when it gets to that point? So AI is definitely a great tool that has advanced us, but we're going to be looking on the flip side in a few. So that kind of technology where we're looking at images and audio that's not the real person.
Yeah.
I think they would refer to that as deepfake technology.
Yes.
Now, when used responsibly, it's definitely good for applications. For example, it can restore old videos of loved ones. I see people have been using it to create back some, give some life to some old pictures. So probably a black and white picture is now in color. And the person looks, like it was taken yesterday. And, it helps actors appear younger in movie. Sometimes you see their cheeks look a little blushing and you say, oh, it's a little makeup. Sometimes it's that deep fake technology added to smoothing out the skin. And it creates, realistic training simulations for probably flight personnel, doctors and pilots, emergency responders. So it definitely has a plus.
Yeah.
We can't deny that. Now, what we want to look at now is how do we draw the line, or how do we identify when AI is going to the negative? What would you say?
I feel like how we identify it is by looking at the negative effects and seeing how it's impacting the lives of people.
Right.
Like everything, AI's impact will show eventually.
Right.
I feel like we're in the early days, so we are probably around 3 years since ChatGPT was released. And there was AI before that, but ChatGPT sparked the generative AI wave. So I feel like it's the negative effects when we see situations like students no longer really learning because they can just generate their assignments. And that's a big discourse, because now what that shows is it's not only the students' fault, it's also the fault of the education system that has not been transformed in so long that kind of seems like it's just creating workers for factories. You know what I mean? Like it's not really educating people to be truly free. So we get into that kind of debate, you know? So what we will have to look at now is the negative effects, and those negative effects will be measurable as time progresses. But we're still early days, so we are not sure as yet what's going to happen.
All right, so there you have it. As I said, we are here with our special guest, Joel Dean, CEO of Joyful AI Journal, and that's a special app that definitely will be AI in a positive light.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we continue to look at the rise of AI and deepfakes. We got more for you after the break. Fantastic Friday right here in the Talk the Ting segment. Big up to our messages on Instagram Live. Those of you on TikTok earlier, congrats to our winners. We're going to go to the break. It's a 7:30 break. Well, at 7:20 break. When we return, we go to the second half of our discussion, the rise of AI and deepfakes. And we look on the other side, people. Yes, we look on the other side and figure out how are we going to get through, how are we going to manage when we talk about the negatives of AI and deepfakes. We'll be right back after the break.